Tim! Tim! Get! Tim! Get!
In the wild, a single moment of misjudgment is all it takes to turn an adventure into a fight for survival. From a mountain biker's terrifying tumble down a jagged ledge to a cave explorer trapped in a suffocatingly narrow crawl, these encounters prove how thin the line is between a thrill and a tragedy. Nature doesn't offer second chances, so would you have the instincts to make it out alive? Tommy is a committed mountain biking creator whose content focuses on downhill riding and demanding trail obstacles. His videos feature many kinds of terrain, from easier routes to more advanced descents, all fueled by a strong enthusiasm for the sport. In March 2025, Tommy rides with a group of friends on a fast downhill run along a narrow mountain trail. As their speed builds, the danger grows. In settings like this, one small error can quickly become serious, and that is exactly what takes place. The group slows near a tight corner that appears both challenging and appealing. Each rider takes a turn attempting it. The first rider makes it through without any trouble. The next rider follows confidently but misjudges his pace, loses control, and slides into a risky section of the trail. Rather than stopping, he keeps sliding downhill.
Here, I'll go.
Oh, shit! No! No!
He kept going!
No!
I'm good!
Are you good?
Daniel,
I'm good!
are you sure?
Yeah. Where's my bike?
It's fine, your bike's fine, dude.
My GoPro's not. I'm okay, thank God. Look what I just came down.
Yeah.
I slid down the entire thing.
He laid it right there. That's his head.
Yeah.
Well, that's his body.
And he held on right here, so I thought he saved
But
himself.
that's how he keeps sliding.
Yeah.
He briefly touches the ground, catching himself for a moment, but the slope pulls him farther. He skids across a narrow ledge before dropping again, narrowly missing a far more dangerous result. After the fall, the group agrees not to try the corner again. They work together to retrieve the bike, with one person staying below, while another carefully climbs up to recover it. The rider is extremely lucky. Despite how serious the fall looked, he avoids broken bones and suffers only minor injuries. Realizing how dangerous the corner truly is, Tommy decides not to attempt it himself and avoids taking unnecessary risks. The incident shows how vital protective gear is during high-speed riding. It remains unclear whether the rider struck his head, but most of the impacts seem to be on his back. The crash likely resulted from poor speed judgment and trail layout, not from equipment failure. Would you stay away from this corner or try again with better preparation? On December 15th, 2025, YouTuber Pasha Brill uploaded one of the most frightening exploration videos he had ever filmed. Pasha was hiking through a mountain range near his hometown, intending to enter a cave he had located earlier. From the beginning, the place felt unlike an ordinary exploration spot. The cave looked extremely tight, fully dark, and intensely claustrophobic. Despite these warning signs, he decided to go on. He entered the cave directly unaware that this choice would soon place him in serious danger.
The mouth of the cave wasn't that bad, but I knew what was coming would be worse. Then I saw the tunnels. Long, narrow, disappearing into pitch black.
The opening itself did not appear very threatening, but the conditions became worse, farther inside. The tunnels grew long and narrow, extending into complete darkness. The fear did not come from missing light alone, but from the rising sense that once inside, leaving might not be simple. Disregarding the danger, Pasha kept moving forward. As he traveled deeper into the cave system, the passages shrank even more. Light nearly vanished, and even small errors could bring severe consequences. Damp clay soaked into his clothes, turning every surface slick. Crawling became harder, breathing more difficult, and the air felt thick and still. At one moment, he had to twist his body into an extreme angle just to keep advancing. He kept recording to remain focused. Eventually, he reached a tiny open area, only large enough to pause briefly. That was when he noticed several bats nearby, close enough to brush across his face. Although usually not afraid of them, the cramped space made the moment deeply disturbing. As he continued, the fear of becoming trapped grew stronger. That fear soon became real. Pasha Bril became stuck deep within the cave, completely alone. Panic rose as he fought to free himself, knowing that one wrong movement could worsen the situation. After several tense minutes, he succeeded in pushing through. Still, the danger was not finished. Pasha then faced another 5-hour crawl before finally leaving the cave. He emerged cold-drained and shaken, but alive. Later, he described the experience as the most dangerous situation he had ever faced while exploring. Being trapped underground alone is a nightmare that leaves a lasting mark. Do you think careful preparation can reduce risks like this? Or are some caves simply too dangerous to explore safely? Tetsu Shiohara was a Japanese streamer known by former classmates as withdrawn and burdened by severe personal hardship, including colon cancer. He relied on live streaming because his small group of viewers was the only space where he felt safe forming connections. With time, he grew obsessed with the goal of climbing Mount Fuji. After followers requested to see the peak during winter, he set out on a climb on October 28, 2019. Lacking experience and equipment, he reached far higher than anyone expected to the top before everything suddenly went wrong. While he kept moving upward, filming with one hand and uncertain about his route, conditions rapidly deteriorated.
そう、なかなか危ないここ。ここな。滑って下山する。よし。岩を追っていこう。そう斜面になっちゃってんだ。この道が埋まってね、半分ね。道合ってんのこれ。なんか相当埋まってんだけど、雪で。ここも危ないね。ちょっとね、斜面。
People watching live from screens saw him fall and immediately alerted emergency services and authorities. Search crews started combing the upper reaches of Mount Fuji the next morning, concentrating near the 3,000-meter level where the broadcast seemed to end. The effort lasted for hours, yet thin air and steep, icy ground made the operation extremely dangerous for those involved. Visibility was limited and storms threatened. On October 30th, 2 days later, responders discovered a body on a lower snowy slope of the mountain. The position and timing matched what viewers had seen on the stream, though officials did not confirm an identity at once. Subsequent reports strongly indicated the remains were the missing climber him. Officials released no details about his gear or recording device. What endures is a live broadcast that preserved a fatal instant and a perilous recovery carried out in one of Japan's harshest winter settings. Do you believe pressure of streaming mattered, or was ascent too dangerous from the start there? Omar Farang Zin was a 48-year-old man from Samarate near Milan who worked as an airport driver, but his true love was adventure motorbikes, travel, and time spent in wild landscapes. Friends called him Farang, a nickname that reflected both his affection for Thailand and his restless, roaming spirit. In the summer of 2025, Omar began a motorcycle trip across Europe. His route took him through Croatia and Serbia before he reached Romania, drawn by the Carpathian Mountains and the famous Transfiguration Road, known for its winding turns and dramatic scenery. As a lover of nature and wildlife, Omar knew that Romania holds the largest brown bear population in the European Union. On July 3rd, near Vidraru Dam, he came upon a mother bear with her cubs. Wanting a closer view, he walked toward them while filming and tried to feed the animal, a dangerous choice in a place where feeding wildlife is strongly discouraged.
Oh, sta venendo verso di me.
Italian a fost omorât azi dimineață de o ursoaică cu pui pe care a încercat să o hrănească din palmă pe Transfăgărășan. Polițiștii au găsit fotografii care ne arată că victima s-a apropiat nepermis de mult de animale. 4 ori mai mulți urși decât ar fi numărul optim. Pentru că nu mai găsesc mâncare în pădure, sălbăticiunile ies la șosea, unde au învățat să stea la selfie ca să primească hrană.
That footage became Omar's final video. Tragically, the mother bear, acting to defend her young, attacked him. He was injured and dragged into a steep ravine. His motorcycle was later found left behind, and rescue teams eventually recovered his body. The incident shocked both Italy and Romania, showing how quickly wildlife encounters can become deadly. Omar's story is a painful reminder that while adventure and natural beauty are powerful, respect for wild animals is essential. His passion for travel still lives on, even as his fate warns people everywhere about the risks of crossing unseen boundaries in nature. Do you think clearer warnings and stricter enforcement could reduce tragedies like this? Or does responsibility finally rest with personal judgment? On January 8th, 2026, Aris Masip lived through an incident that made her doubt every choice she had taken. She came away barely alive. She was skiing at Pic de l'Hortel in Andorra, with her dog in an area she knew extremely well. She had been on this mountain 7 or 8 times that season, and in the 5 days before the recording, it was already her 3rd descent on the same slope. That repeated exposure gave her a deep feeling of security. She assumed nothing serious could happen after riding the same line so many times. Yet comfort is often when danger becomes most real, when routine allows real threats to be overlooked. That day she set off an avalanche.
Shim! Get! Shim! Get! Shim! Get! Shim! 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 What chaval?
She was swept into moving snow with no clear escape, accelerating as she was pulled downhill. Her dog stayed close behind her, putting his own life at risk to remain with her, unaware that the situation could have ended both of them. In moments like this, loyalty does not fade even when survival is uncertain. By what she later called pure chance, the snow slowed and finally came to rest. Only then did she fully grasp how close they had been to dying. She later released the footage and admitted that going back to the same place again and again had convinced her the danger was low. Familiar ground, simple objectives, and repeated runs built a false sense of security, even though the conditions themselves had never truly changed. Only afterward did she realize how habit can quietly replace caution, and how narrowly the result avoided being fatal. Does experience always make situations safer, or can it slowly create the illusion of control? A group of young hikers were moving along a mountain trail when they came across a stack of heavy rocks beside the path. A few of them thought it would be entertaining and might bring online attention to shove the rocks downhill while recording it. What seemed like a harmless stunt quickly turned dangerous. From one viewpoint, it might not look serious, but another angle shows how risky the moment truly was. It was not only a single rock that shifted. Several others came loose and rolled down the slope, including one that traveled straight toward the spot where one of them had been standing, nearly pulling him with it. Luckily, he managed to keep his footing and lived. The incident shows how fast a burst of excitement can become a major hazard. What started as a joke created danger not just for those taking part, but for anyone who might have been below. When attention becomes the priority, safety is often forgotten. How often do people underestimate real danger just to capture something on camera? On April 22, 2025, the channel Hiking Movie recorded a solo hike near Warner Springs that started as an endurance challenge but ended as a confrontation with death. What began as a day on the trail slowly shifted into a personal reckoning tied to a tragedy that had happened only steps from where she slept.
I still don't know this morning about that cross and the trash right there. I don't know that that signifies that something terrible happened in this exact spot. There's my tent site, heading out early. Most everybody else is still in their tents. I'm slow, so they'll catch me.
After spending the night outside, the host learned a shocking truth. The precise place where she set her tent was the same spot where a hiker named Michael had died just hours earlier. Disturbed by the timing, she shared words of respect. Yet, along the trail, reminders of danger are not only human.
Trail magic? The water, no trail. Oh, okay. Water's magic here too.
Yeah. And it's super thick. Yeah. Then when you get to it, like super juicy. Oh, so juicy. So good. Juicy and sticky.
It's probably only noon. I think we've got 3 miles or 4 miles to the campsite. We're hiking a little bit faster, but we can't do too much. So we'll get an overview century. This is a nice change. It's getting warm. I think it's still around like 72 or something like that. But we're back out in the desert. Feels a lot hotter than it is. I don't know how the people do it that come in here later in the year when it's like 100 degrees. Can you see him down there? There's Fred. And there's Detour. Just barely see him. That's way too big to be coyote scat. Probably mountain lion. It's got hair and stuff in it. I've seen a lot of it actually. I found a little shade, so I'm relaxing in the shade right now. Before I cross that open field, my feet are killing me today. They are really sore. I've done too many miles, I think. So 14 today. And then we're going to Warner Springs because I think we'll only have about 5 miles to get into Warner Springs.
As she continued forward, she came across a frightening sign of another presence. Fresh droppings from a large animal lay right on the path, packed with visible fur, a clear signal of a mountain lion moving through the same ground. Beyond predators, the desert itself turns into a constant enemy.
Somebody died yesterday at our campsite, a thru hiker named Michael. And he died in his sleep, I guess yesterday morning before we got there. Very sad, but he died doing, what he wanted to do and went in to sleep peacefully, they think. Of course, they haven't done an autopsy or anything. The helicopter came and took him before I got there to the camp last night. That we're camping there last night. Nobody told me last night because put my tent up in his campsite and they decided not to tell me so that I could sleep. I wondered why there was a cross right across from that tent site and why such a good tent site hadn't been picked. And then there was a bunch of trash a little ways away. Water bottles, peanut butter, jar. Looked like somebody just dumped out their trash. That's just so weird. And everybody was kind of calm and quiet until today. Fred fessed up today. They thought I would sleep better if I didn't know, but I could have picked a different campsite. So rest in peace, Michael. Sorry I took your campsite. It was a good one. Check it out. There is water. I'm not to the campsite yet, but I'm sure this is the stream. Soaking my feet, hoping the cold, very cold water works some miracles here. And everyone decided to go on into town another 4 miles. Don't think my feet have another 4 miles in them. That's a total of 18 for today. But I think if I sit here for a while and soak my feet, maybe it'll numb them enough because the water's so cold that I'll be able to hike.
She spent the afternoon crossing open cattle fields beneath the sun with temperatures rising above 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Each mile became a struggle of endurance as intense heat and endless distance left her feet in severe pain. When a campsite becomes both a place of death and a place of rest within hours, the land itself seems changed. Viewers remain divided. Was the hiker's silence meant to protect others? Or was it an unsettling omission? On June 5th, 2019, the YouTube channel The Wandering Woodsman filmed a lone hike through the forests of southern Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. Known for seeking out overlooked natural and historical locations, the host set out to find a nearly 300-year-old burial ground concealed near the Susquehanna River. With no precise map and only partial directions, the walk unfolded quietly, leading toward a place history itself seemed to have abandoned.
Still following this trail. Don't know if the cemetery is up here or not. And just as I was beginning to lose hope, guess what I see poking out of the ground up here? Tombstones. Anyway, my mind is wandering. Anyway, but up here, yeah, here we go. This is it. Awesome. Wow. This is what exploring is all about. Finding this out here. This old forgotten cemetery. Wow. I'm gonna sit down and take a little bit of a break first before we look around. I'm gonna sit and take a break among the dead. Pretty sure it does, actually. Anyway, I'll get back to you. I'm gonna sit down, relax a little bit, and then we'll take a good look at some of these and talk about dates and stuff. Sitting among the dead out here, taking a break. But like I said, there are a number of trails leading to this cemetery, besides the one that I came on. Of course, one problem with these old Pennsylvania graveyards is that they're in German, Pennsylvania German, but the name there is Barbara Good. That means born. 1777. She died in 1821. 1777. Look at some of these. Here's a Peter Warfel, something like that. Let's see, 1778 to 1803. So he lived terribly long. We won't look at every single tombstone. We'll just get a feel for some of them. Elizabeth Warfel, that name, Warfel or something like that. 1816. Right. So here's a David Eshelman, 1799. I should mention, I don't think I mentioned the name of this cemetery. This is called the Benedict Eshelman Cemetery. Benedict Eshelman. So you can look up online to find more information about it. Johannes Good, 1752 he was born, and he died in 1826. So that's our oldest date so far. That's when he was born, 1752. And you can see some tombstones here that are in a different style than the others. These are harder to make out, the dates and stuff, pretty worn up. I think I see a 1776 down there. Not sure if that's when he died or that's when he was born, because it looks like there's a date up there. Anyway, might be a date down there too. Anyway, some of these are a little hard to read. That's the way it is.
The woodland floor reveals a haunting truth, marked only by worn stones standing like dark figures in the soil. Beside gravestones from the 1800s are simple uncarved rocks, unidentified settlers from the 1720s, whose names vanished with time. The site's eerie stillness comes from realizing that an entire generation now survives only as silent, faceless markers.
Yeah, see, other ones just scattered around here. So these back here just don't have any markings on them. They're that old. Wow. So the ones in front are the newer ones. Kind of found this one lone tombstone all by itself off to the side. This one's kind of sad though. In memory of Elizabeth, daughter of Susanna Seabrooks, who departed this life June 10th, 1828. She's only 17 years old. It's pretty young. When I mean, not as young as some of the others we've seen, but 17, you're just kind of hitting that period in your life where you're starting out. It's lots of memories out here, but they're forgotten. No one remembers her anymore, or even what she looked like or anything.
Every neglected cemetery carries at least one story that breaks through the quiet. The host stops at the grave of Elizabeth, a young woman who died in 1828 at just 17. Considering how a life once cherished is now reduced to a fading inscription with no living memory, he decides not to reveal the cemetery's location, choosing instead to shield her resting place from a world that has already moved on. Many viewers reflect that the real fear is not dying, but being erased. As years strip away names and histories, only emptiness is left unless someone pauses long enough to acknowledge what remains. When even gravestones disappear, is a stranger's moment of remembrance enough to preserve a life's meaning? Or is forgetting the final destiny waiting for us all? Deep within the darkness of Brazil's deserted Cemitério da Alagoa, certain stories refuse to fade away. On August 15th, 2025, the channel Chamos recorded a tense journey into the domain of the Corpo Seco, a cursed figure denied by both heaven and hell. What started as a simple inquiry soon unraveled into a frantic contest of pursuit with an invisible force that appeared to oppose their presence.
Não bota a luz ainda não. Cara, será que eu achei que... Sabe o que eu achei que podia ser a polícia que tá vindo pelo outro lado da trilha? Galera, deixa eu explicar o que aconteceu aqui, mano. E a gente acabou ouvindo um barulho de mato quebrando aqui, alguma coisa correndo aqui, cara. Ou não foi um galho desse que quebrou aqui, será?
Não, foi coisa grande, mano. A ideia é de tentar vir de dia aqui, né?
Não, mas eu ouvi muito alto, cara. Todo mundo ouviu, cara.
Tá louco, Jota. É coisa grande. E fazendo aquele som, cara. Parece que a gente se aproximar, o bagulho some, cara.
É. Na nossa frente.
Tá gravando. Duvido que ele pegou na câmera. Você pegou? Agora pegou. Tá muito alto, cara.
Ó, tá se distanciando, parece.
Tá indo pra lá, ó. Parece que agora, tipo, tava aqui assim, na frente, foi pra lá agora, mano.
Ô, cara, e agora, velho? Ó, nós estamos sendo...
O facão mesmo, facão cego.
Não tá, cara. O negócio foi lá pra trás, cara.
Pois é, Jota, é aquele negócio, aquele mesmo som que eu escutou, cara. Mas faz esse som.
Just as the group readied themselves to depart, the quiet was broken by harsh cracking and slow pounding steps, rushing through the foliage. Even after the sound stopped, an eerie awareness lingered, the sense of being observed by something only shifting its place within the night.
Olha aqui, tem osso aqui, ó.
Osso?
Ah, tem um osso aqui, eu acho que é osso de galinha.
Será?
Eu acho que é. É, porque de certo fizeram oferenda com galinha. Tá vendo? Tem um monte de osso. Até aqui tem osso, ó. Até aqui tem osso, ó. Tá vendo aqui? Tem mais osso aqui, ó. Tem osso por tudo aqui, ó. Tá vendo? Isso aqui tudo é osso, ó. Aqui, ó. Tudo o resto de coisa aqui, ó. Deixa eu te perguntar. Será, cara, que... Tá? Vamos entender que é um bicho. Existe a possibilidade das pessoas estarem vindo aqui e entregando oferenda, animais para essa coisa se alimentar?
Ou esse negócio tá matando o bicho e trazendo pra cá pra comer. Matando outro lugar, trazendo pra cá. Aqui é um terreno que em 1800 eles montaram um cemitério aqui. Foi criado um cemitério aqui nesse local. Conhecido aqui. As pessoas traziam caixão em bateira, em barco, em canoa para fazer um enterro aqui. Os pescadores enterravam corpos aqui. É um dos primeiros, é o primeiro cemitério da cidade. Cara, o negócio tá longe, tá? Porque ela só parou, barulho, tu deu um ruído aqui agora, mas eu não sei, pode ser que só qualquer ruído aqui, qualquer barulho que ela já se assusta, velho. Que isso? Foi vocês? É mesmo, Jota? Tá aqui no braço?
Isso me assustei, cara.
Ó, peraí. Cara, a gente vai ter que fazer o seguinte, rapaziada. A gente vai botar aqui umas 2, 3, no máximo 4 câmeras em pontos diferentes e deixar gravando. E vão ter que ficar lá no carro aguardando.
Disregarding their caution, the team reached a patch of flattened grass scattered with leftover fragments. In a haunted woodland, each finding seems like a message carved into warning. While they talked about the burial grounds, past abrupt motion burst out behind them. One person jerked back, saying something icy touched his arm. In spite of their lamps, the lens revealed nothing but blank space, showing that whatever followed them did not need to appear to be noticed. When dread strengthens a tale, the boundary between fiction and truth fades. Audiences argue, is the corpo seco a mental image or a real hunter? If you are already sure you are pursued, can you ever rely on your senses again?
That's it for tonight. Which moment creeped you out the most? Drop it in the comments. Have your own story? Share it with us, and stay tuned. The next one is even darker.